Max Verstappen is a real monster in the world of motorsports. In 2023, he was crowned as World Drivers' Championship for the third consecutive year, and it seems that he's not going to stop there. There are many factors that make him the best driver at this time, such as belonging to the best team, having the best car on the grid, and other additional factors that we will talk about later, which is why he obviously far surpasses the Mexican Sergio Perez. What about Checo? What is going on? Even thought they have the same car, the same engineers, the same strategies, and the same team. What is the difference? So can Max Verstappen can get the most of the Red Bull cars? Well, the answer is much more complex than we think, since their abilities, age, and talents are totally different, but there are two topics in particular that I would like to touch on, but we will talk about them later. At the beginning of the season, everything seemed like it would look great for Checo in this season, who was going to compete side by side and tire by tire against Max Verstappen for the World Drivers' Championship, and this only filled millions of us with dreams and hopes, Latin Americans and Mexicans who support El Tapatío Sergio Perez. But this story will take a turn that no one expected. While Max Verstappen began to gain confidence and races, in turn, Checo, on the contrary, seemed to be going backwards and having many more problems with his car than he had at the beginning of the season. Everything changed and the dream of a great began to fall. Max continued winning races with large advantage and without any problems, while Perez fought the gent points and finished within the top 10, sometimes for podiums, but never a solid performance, which he told us. Well, at least surely each race ends up on the podium and one or another competes against his partner. But well, Checo's self-confidence was starting to disappear. And the worst of all was that he was getting further and further away from competing for the World's Championship, and he was beginning to put the second place at risk, something that he lost in 2022 season against Ferrari with the driver Charles Leclerc. We all noticed that at that moment something was happening and Sergio Perez was not feeling well. Everyone was against him, the press talking about him, Red Bull's own sports advisor Dr. Helmut Marko making him feel less every chance that he had, and even at some point his entire country turning its back on him, when really he was doing everything in his power to give the best of himself. At the beginning of this video we talked about two particular topics that differentiate Max from Checo, and at this moment I want to talk about them, and they are talent and commitment. Let's go with the first, talent, because whether we want to accept it or not, Max Verstappen is completely in another category. He is the perfect driver who does not make any mistakes while doing his job. He pushes his car to the limit, as well as his abilities to always stay in the first places, fighting for pole positions and trying to secure victory from the first laps of the race. This young man has a talent that is only seen rarely, such as Juan Manuel Fangio, Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher, Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, and Verstappen himself. And speaking of commitment, it's more than clear that Verstappen is a beast in the simulator. And speaking of commitment, it's more than clear that Verstappen is a beast in the simulator. He's always testing updates, seeing how to improve his technique and how to adapt and be the best driver in the world. He's all the time preparing for it, and he never let go a single opportunity that comes in his way. This allows him to have the nerves of steel, and that's why he never makes a mistake. Talking about the car, everyone in Red Bull, Christian Horner, Adrian Newey, and Max Verstappen have said that there are no differences between the one they give to Max Verstappen and the one given to Sergio Perez. Checo himself has said it, but then you may wonder which one is the difference, because it is so marked that one is better than the other and too much faster. The answer is simple, and we just have mentioned it: the talent and the commitment. On the part of Red Bull, they have said on many occasions that the car is not developed for a specific driver. And they have seen these issues from the duo from Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber, as well in the era of Verstappen and Ricciardo, and now with the current situation between Max Verstappen and Checo Perez. Red Bull is only responsible for making the best car in the world, the most efficient, the fastest, and the best of the 10 teams in the grid. Which is what happens, because Verstappen does not want to Red Bull to configure the car on his own way driving, but from weekend to weekend he has to adapt to the updates. He always has to be open to improving and not making any excuses. While Perez always hopes that the car will be adapted to his driving style. But let's be honest, Red Bull is not going to stop their development and waste millions of dollars to this and stop any winning streak they could have. What is happening? Red Bull is going at an accelerated pace. They improve every day, and while Max Verstappen spends hours a day in the simulator, Checo do it approximately 3 days every month. What is he going to learn about the new car doing that? Well, of course, nothing at all. You will always be one step behind. It is for this reason that unless Perez changes his work habits, he will never be able to beat or be faster than Max, because he will not learn to get the most out of the car.